What's going on? What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Rap Review Room. I'm your host, Philosophical. What's going on? What's going on? As you can see, man, we got two special guests, a returning guest and also a guest, man. We've been boys, friends, man, great dope artist. I actually reviewed his track, Drago, man, and we got him live on the show here, Dr. Lecter. What's going on, fellas? What's going on, y'all?
Hey, it's all
Oh,
good.
good, man.
What's going on? I've been speaking on Soul spoke on it on his interview. And if you guys follow Dr. Lecter, these guys have a project coming out January 3rd called How My Mind Ticks. And it's and having a sneak peek of this album, it's a dope project. So we're here to talk to these guys. Basically, the making of this project, kind of talk about their chemistry, kind of talk about the story behind both of these guys. So we'll first start off with, Dr. Lecter, man. Kind of tell the people, who you are, man. Of course, where you're from.
Yeah,
Your
the
scene.
background. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, obviously, I'm from the UK, England. I'm from a industrial farm called Runcorn, which is like the northwest of England. It's about 10 miles away from Liverpool. It's like the outskirts of
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool, kind of. That's the closest city, I'd say. I've been doing hip hop now for 21 years, something like that. 21 years, so quite a long time. Um, and yeah, I'm heavily involved now in the Liverpool hip hop scene because I actually run my own hip hop night now in Liverpool, promoting local artists called Here Comes the Boom Bap. And yeah, I've been involved in quite a lot of gigs recently as well. I've just supported Black Sheep this week in
Okay.
Liverpool, and I supported Easy Mo B a couple of months ago as well. So yeah, man, I'm like, not just that, you know what I mean? Not just the local scene. I've been doing it quite a long time within the underground hip hop scene in general. So yeah, yeah, man, that's me.
So, as you guys know, Dr. Lecter has got a lot of connections with kind of the underground scene. As we're going to speak about in a few minutes, he's got some tracks produced here by Static Selector and also Terminology, as he told me, which are big artists down in the underground. So, Soul, man, tell us a little bit about you for the people that don't know who you are. Let people know.
Yeah, so I'm Soulogik. I've been rapping probably I could say about 25 years or more too. And I'm originally from Mozambique, so I started rapping in Mozambique, came to the States, started rapping here, got with some guys that, some New York guys, some VA guys, and you know, some really talented rappers. They got me to rap again. I quit for a little bit. They're like, nah, if you can rap in Portuguese, you can rap in English. We gotta hear it. Let me hear you. Let me hear you spit. And then I just started rapping. And from that point on, I just kind of been, doing it as a hobbyist, but at a high level as far as I can tell, or
Right.
trying.
Right,
Yeah,
and it's definitely elevating even more and more every time we get a project from you, man. Amor Fati, if you guys didn't know, check out that interview. Also, that'll be down in the description box. Also, so how the mind ticks. Let's speak on this. Right, it's obvious. You guys are kind of going into the effects of. I'm assuming the different aspects of how the mind ticks from a rapper, from a man, from a struggle man, from the different things going on in life. So, kind of speak on it. We'll start with Dr. Lecter, man. What are your what was the thoughts in making this?
yeah. So basically, it's 6 tracks, and both each track have basically it's 6 different psychological methods, you could say, for each track. So each track is named after one of these methods. And it's about basically speaking about that, but in our own way. So incorporating also our own experiences of such um, into them themes as well. So that was the idea of it. To be honest with you, when I always do projects, anyone who listens to my music, listen to any of my albums or my EPs or whatever, I always tend to dive into a concept. If it didn't, I'll be honest, I get bored. So I'd rather, it's just me being honest. So I have to, it has to interest me. So yeah, that was the bread and butter of it really. And then obviously I've collaborated with Soul, I think, how long now? 2010, 11, somewhere like that. Years.
Yep.
Yeah, what's
Absolutely years.
we actually all came together because of this guy right here, Philosophical. He had the no boundaries thing on the Facebook,
Yep.
and I think
Yeah,
that's
man.
what started the whole connection. And that
Yeah.
was what 2011,
Yeah,
10.
I think we was just talking about it. I think that is like 2011, man. It was crazy. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, good time.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously we've done quite numerous tracks, haven't we, through the years? And then when this concept come about, I thought, you know what? I've always loved Soul's style because he's conscious, you know what I mean? But not in a way of just saying stuff to be conscious. You know, he dives deeper into what he's speaking about, and I just thought I think it would be cool, both of us kind of mainly for the most of it back and forth. There's one track which Soul's just on, which I think sounds perfect with him just on. But yeah, for the most of it, I thought I'll reach out to him, see if he's interested, if it's his cup of tea, and then yeah, go from there basically. So there, yeah, that's the thinking behind it.
Go ahead, so.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was dope. When he hit me up about it, I was like, yeah. He called me just after finishing the album. I was like, I just want to rap now. I just really want to rap like that. I just feel like rapping. I've been working hard on this album. I'm stressed out, and I'm like, I want to rap. And then he came up with this concept, and I was like, immediately, as soon as I heard the concept and saw the definitions, I went online, to see, did my little research. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely up my alley. I like cerebral stuff. So I was like, okay, this is an opportunity to get real cerebral. So I was grateful he hit me up about that because I was like, and also with Dr.Lekta being a boom bap hip hop guy, I was like, all right, let's keep it pure hip hop right here.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
So your previous projects, I know you guys are they on social media right now, or that you guys are working on that, or
Yeah. Well, I've got my latest previous project. Originally, it is on streaming now, but originally I just released it on Bandcamp and as physical CDs.
okay,
So I just done a limited run of CDs and basically only done 50. And once the CDs are gone, they're gone. So we got rid of them, and then
definitely send me all those links, and I'll definitely put it down in the description box along with your handles and things like that to let the people
yeah,
know,
man,
where to find you, where to find your music and everything. So the first thing
yeah,
was going to be, I hope I'm saying this right. I apologize if I'm not. Pygmalion Effect. Is that
Pygmalion
correct?
Effect.
Pygmalion Effect. I'm sorry. Kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
speak on that first single there.
I'll let Dr.Lekta start it off because again, it's his brainchild. I'm just
Okay.
following up on it.
Yeah, it's an hard one to go into, really. Do you know what I mean? The process of it. Obviously, when I heard that particular track, it's basically about expectations that are given. And that if you do something a certain way, then expectations are looked at differently. Um, so yeah, and it's like it's kind of seeing the balance between it. And if you do something a certain way, the brain makes the other person think differently. So yeah, it's an interesting concept. But then obviously we put our own kind of spin on it with our own experiences. But the way we done it with that really, what I found anyway, is like both our verses. We kind of done it in a braggadocious way at the same time, the way we're like spitting on our verses. But then, there's always I say some like high expectations or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But we've kind of entwined it into our own styles. And then obviously you've got static selector as well on the art production as well, just to
Right.
top it off. Yeah.
Yeah, and the way I interpreted the concept, I just thought of it as like, when people doubt you, when you're around people who doubt you, sometimes your output can be lower because people don't really believe in you. But when people believe in you, it's like you want to step up to the plate. It almost gives you fuel. And I kind of interpreted it so like that. So it's like, okay, you have low expectations, and I'm probably not gonna perform as well anyway. But when I'm around good people and they believe in me, or just in general, I think that's how our brains work. We tend to want to step
Yeah.
up.
So
Yeah.
let's speak on the six the six kind of effects, right? First, what is you guys' favorite one that kind of resonated with you the most on this project? We'll start with you, so go ahead, so.
I think for me it was the spotlight effect. That's actually the first one I recorded.
Okay.
As soon as I got the beat, it's a terminology beat.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard it, I was like, you know what, this is interesting because I'm starting to. I know Dr. Lekta's been putting out music like more frequently, and he's been in the spotlight. I would say a little bit more. But since I started to put myself out there a little bit more, and I actually putting out music that I really care about, started to get a little nervous. You know what I mean? So I kind of felt like, you know what, this really touches on where I'm at now because it's like, okay, well, guess I'm putting this stuff out now. No more keeping it on
Right.
the hard drive because I
Right.
have tons and tons of music that I'm just holding on.
So did this help you kind of encourage you to put out music more music?
It did. It did. It definitely encouraged me to put out more music. It also made me step up my game because
Okay.
he's rapping like for real. Like
Right, right, right,
you get on the
right.
track with Dr. Lekta, he's coming for your throat. It's like, all right.
Mhm.
So I got to step it up, and it did inspire me for sure. And I like the concept, and it actually because these are brand new songs. I have a lot of old songs that I kind of been working on, so these are like brand new songs. These are fresh
Okay.
thoughts, and I'm like, I just really like enjoyed the whole process.
What about you, Dr. Lecter? What's your favorite of this
Uh,
project?
Probably, to be fair, probably my favourite is the first track, um,
Okay.
the the Pratfall Effect, which is
Okay.
produced by Beatmaster Boyce, who he's a Scottish producer. He produced the whole of my last project. It's all great, and I don't know. It's just for me, and I'm not even going on about concept wise. It's just got that heavy Mob Deep sounding kind of
I got
feel.
that. Yep.
Uh, that dingy kind of beat, and I don't know. It just I just like the way both of us kind of flow on it. Do you know what I mean? And put our points across. So yeah, that's probably out of all of them. I do enjoy every other track. You know, I, yeah, I really do enjoy them. But yeah, that's my favourite track at the moment. It might change tomorrow.
Okay.
It's just at the moment that is, you know what I mean?
Great opener for sure. I
Right. It
definitely like
is.
it as
Yeah,
an opener.
So
yeah.
which one of these tracks or which one of these effects kind of you still kind of maybe struggle with that you've taken into real life? Which one do you feel like you're like um it's a real effect that you've gone through as an artist?
I think
We'll
that's for
start
you.
with you, Doctor. Go ahead, Doctor Lecter.
Yeah, man. So probably the focusing effect really is
Ah,
probably because it's kind of it's kind of one of them, focusing on certain things when you shouldn't be. I'm quite a deep thinker, to be honest with you,
okay.
and this is kind of why this concept and I can get a bit too in my own head sometimes. Yeah, probably that track. But at the same time, the track are kind of tongue in cheek because I do say some stuff that's quite funny in it. So I'm kind of like it's like tongue in cheek. It's serious, but then at the same time,
Okay.
I'm not being serious. So yeah,
Like that one
that's
too. The
probably it.
energy on that track, that's fire. Definitely the whole track like has a really good energy too.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
What
man.
about you,
Yeah,
Soul?
Yeah, the way I think on that one, I kind of that's probably on the track on the one of the tracks. It's more the more complex verses I did on the whole project. I would say possibly,
Okay.
yeah,
and it's like it's interesting if you listen to it. It's like everything relates to, and I think both of us kind of played on the idea of just
Right.
focusing.
Right.
So I played
Right.
off many different ideas of how you can focus. It's like,
Okay.
from some point of autism that I believe I have some kind of case of it. Maybe I'm on the spectrum somewhere. So I kind of use all the things that I highly focused on, being focused, like
Right.
being in the
Right.
zone,
Right.
like when you lose track of time and all those things, so locked in. So it's like my whole concept was just locked in on that one. So I
Right.
like that idea on that one too.
So why do you guys, if you guys feel this way, do you feel like concepts like this are slowly coming back, or is kind of still kind of that uh, difficult listen for some people? What are you guys thoughts on that? We'll start with you, Lecter.
um, it is kind of becoming more known in today's hip hop. You know, more conscious, conscious hip hop, and obviously people speaking about the mental health and stuff as well is getting a lot more popular. Which with me, I have always kind of done that anyway, because we've all had stuff in our lives which has affected us. And to me, music's a form of therapy. If it didn't have music, my head would explode, basically. To be honest with you, but I do think. I do think it is becoming more popular, and people are starting to recognise it a lot more, which is good, because then at the same time it's broadening people's perspectives and listening, isn't it? You're not just got some fucking clown mumbling, over the trombone chatting a load of shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's got substance. So that's just me. That's just the way I am. Anyway, I couldn't do it if there's just no. If you don't see any artistry in it, I really don't see the point in it. Basically.
Right.
So yeah.
Go ahead, so.
Yeah, I think it's been around, and when you think about the underground, I think it's been there. You just got to find the artists, like without really saying names, free promotion and stuff. But a lot of artists that have been doing it in the underground. I mean, you had Ransom on your album,
right,
and he's one of those that does heavy concepts, for example, right? So it's one of those things where I think it's existed, but now we're starting to gain prominence basically because of the battle that happened this year. People now want to decipher lyrics and look into them. That had been lost. The music has been there, but the attention wasn't fully there. And I feel like it's slowly coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys mentioned Static Selector and Terminology produce these tracks. Any additional producers you guys want to acknowledge on this project, or this is just those two?
Yeah, no, so you've got 3 tracks from Static Selector, 1 from Terminology. You've got the first track, which is Beatmaster Voice, and then the Focusing Effect, who produces that, is Third Shift Beats, which an interesting story, just to go a bit off on this. A while back, he just used to follow me music on Instagram, and he said, "Oh, I'm thinking about making beats." And I kind of encouraged him to do it. And then he ended up getting a sampling and stuff and said, "Yeah, I've ended up making beats now." And he got into making beats. Just, he was like, if you didn't give me a little push, he's just making bangers. So, but he's in America somewhere in America. I'm not too sure where, but he's a cool dude. He's proper. He's a good man and a very good producer. And he's just, so yeah, Third Shift Beats, get on him. He's a very, very good producer.
Dope.
Nice. What about you, so?
No, that's actually the first I heard of that. I didn't know the story behind the producer. All I know
is I didn't either. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know the Third Shift. Okay, that's dope. Like, I didn't know, but yeah, I was listening to the beat, and I mean, definitely one that inspired a lot. Like, we could probably rap for days on that beat.
And this is your first time rapping on Static and Terminology beats too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
That's been fun. I won't lie.
Right. What was the inspiration for you? Where you kind of, I heard you said kind of like that nervousness. Were you in your head a little bit about this?
I'm always in my head. Like, I'm my biggest critic, I'm always like, nah, there's always that mindset. It's like, I want it to be perfect. And then I'm like, okay, first time on a Static Selector, Terminology beats. I'm like, okay, wow. Okay. This is different. All right, let's try to get more serious. And, so I tended to I've got a probably more perfectionist than I tend to be. Right. So I would say it's a step up overall.
I think both of you guys did a dope. And I will say, man, there's this, I listened to this thoroughly, and there's this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of chemistry on this, where you're getting straight bars from Lecter, and it's almost Soul brings it in and reels it in, kind of like it's crazy, the chemistry on this project, where it's like, man, Soul just like I'm gonna show you too, right? But it's in a
I mean, there's a line I say on at the end of one of the tracks. I don't know if y'all caught it, but I was like, "He's the doctor, I'm the patient."
Right,
or is it the other way around?
Right. So, kind of go into that. How was that intentional? Was that kind of,
I
are
think
you
because we
guys
collabed quite a bit, I think we
right?
know each other's sounds. So
Right.
I feel like we know exactly how to mesh it together because we've had several
Right.
opportunities to make several tracks. And
Right.
over time, I think we know now how to like bring the styles together. And
Yeah,
now we know how to highlight each other's talents, basically.
Right. And it seems like this is the project, and I've heard many other songs you guys have done, but this seems like the project where you guys, this is what you guys, the kind of, you cross the finish line, and kind of like this is what you really wanted to do.
That's what it
y-
feels like to me.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
definitely. Like I said, when I kind of sat there one day, I can't remember exactly. I think I was just playing beats or whatever, in this room, like this little room I'm in now. And I was listening to it, and then I kind of, had the concept in my head, like going back, referring to earlier, it just kind of clicked in my head. I was like, you sound boss on this, Soulogik, the whole
Right.
thing. And it's like you said, it's kind of, it's like the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah,
Right.
we've both got our styles, and it's kind of both, we're both talking, but in our own way about the same thing,
Right.
which is interesting, really, and that's what makes styles so dope in hip hop, doesn't it? Because if you don't have your own style, it's it's to me, it's pointless.
Oh yeah.
You
Like,
know what I mean?
this is
You
given
know,
like kind of how the Wu-Tang operated, where
Right.
everybody was
Right.
different, but when it all came together, it worked perfectly.
Right.
So
yeah,
I was definitely
And then
thinking
you,
yeah,
about it like that.
and then you had a lot of rhythm
definitely.
production that kind of brought that together too.
Yeah.
So tell me some of you guys is like, what's a dream production or and or a dream feature you guys would want to do?
Hmm.
We'll start with you, Lecter. What's a dream? Because you guys like Static Selector's one of my top five producers for me. I've been salivating to get on a EP with him one of these days. And I wasn't familiar. I've always been familiar with terminology, the rapper. I did not know he was a producer. That's new territory
Yeah.
for me. But he was dope. Um, but yeah, give me some of you guys' dream production and dream feature, or both.
Uh,
We'll start with you.
probably, yeah, probably. Producer would probably be like, well, he's not here anymore,
Wow.
but
Okay.
what would have been probably Jay Dilla, or Pete Rock. The producer wise, that would literally just fit the bucket list. Rappers, I'm just trying to think, because to be fair, I'm not like worked with quite a few people through the years. So I'm just trying to think. Probably Dave, because he's MFD more guru.
Right.
And
Yeah.
CL Smooth is
Yeah.
another
Nice.
one.
That'd
Okay.
be dope.
That would be dope.
Um, yeah, they're like my top three rappers.
Nice.
Them three. So, but yeah, CL Smooth would be. I'll be like literally bucket list. Bucket list. Yeah, would love that.
Nice. Nice. What
Nice.
about you, Soul?
I'd say a dream collab. I mean, well, starting with producer, it would be Dr. Dre because I
Ooh.
can just think of all the little nuances because I've heard how meticulous he is about everything.
Right.
I feel like he would help me craft the rhymes even better. Probably like, because I know he's crazy about how you say every single word, give impact to certain things. There would be a lot to learn just off of being in the studio alone. And then, of course, it's a Dr. Dre beat. So
Right.
sonically, if he's mixing it, it'll sound amazing and everything. So I'm like, I would love to just hear that happening. And
Right.
as far as like getting on a track, surprisingly enough, who would I be want to be on a track with? You know what would be interesting? I think I would be interested in a track with Crooked Eye because I just think it would be an
Yeah.
interesting sparring
Yeah.
situation.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Crooked Eye would be somebody to get on a track with and like make it interesting. And of course, anybody from Slaughterhouse, just those guys really rap like they meant it. So I like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Wow. Okay. Okay. I know Nas too was on that list, right?
I intentionally left him off the list. It's obvious. It's like it's one of those days where it's like, you know what, let me just leave the
Yeah,
obvious off the list, you know? And
Right.
also
yeah,
you know,
it is.
I'd rather like leave Nas out there, just be a fan and enjoy his music, without having to like get competitive. I'm like, I don't want to even do that really. But
Well,
I
just
want
imagine, just imagine a Dr. Dre production with Nas on it.
that would be
Well,
fire.
you'd have that with, you'd have, you'd have that, didn't you, with the Fame, if you remember? The Fame album, produced by Dr. Dre.
Yes, that's right. The Fam album. That's right.
Oh, and
That's right.
let's not leave Hit Boy out. Like honestly, the
Right.
dream situation that would be a Hit Boy beat mixed by Dre with Nas on it. That would probably be the
Mm,
Yeah,
mm. I think my dream production would be Kanye West, the old Kanye West, not the
yeah,
new.
yeah. Well,
The
he's still
old,
a sick producer. Still dope.
yeah, yeah. Still a sick producer. I think old Kanye West, new Alchemist. New Alchemist. I'm liking
Yeah,
New Alchemist. I'm liking his new stuff lately, man. He's been really killing it.
yeah.
I'm not even gonna put Kendrick Lamar as far as my favorite feature, um, but I think for me, um, hmm, probably it's weird, man. Because when I had Ransom on the track, I thought that was kind of my dream. I didn't think I would get Ransom on the track,
Well,
so I feel like
it's
that's
one of,
kind of a go ahead.
yeah, yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? Like, I've got tracks there with Cool G Rap and Ghostface. Do you know what I mean?
Ah,
On me Flowers to the Illest album, it's like, obviously that's like bucket list stuff for me.
right,
You know what I mean? So to have them on there, but then at the same time, you want to work with
right,
more people, don't you? So
right.
it's kind of, it just carries on. I think it just keeps spinning.
Right. I think for me would probably be, of course, Kendrick Lamar. I would love to have Common on the track.
Ooh, that would be
Oh yeah, that'd be dope.
Common would be for me kind of my dream. Cause I still go back to his B and Finding Forever albums. So I think for me, Common, for me would probably be a lifelong collab I wouldn't mind doing, man. It'd be interesting to kind of see. And I also want to have like an interview with Redman. Redman is kind of
the
interesting to me.
character.
Oh, yeah, yeah, he's a character, man. I would love to like interview and have a conversation with him, right?
Honestly, we
So
didn't mention DJ Premier. That's another one too, for sure. I
okay,
would love to
okay,
join with
okay.
DJ Premier. That would be
I
fire.
think yep, and
Yeah,
also Ninth Wonder for me. If I
yeah,
had a choice between Kanye and Ninth Wonder, that's tough. That's tough
yeah.
because
Nice one, but
I think for me,
nice one, Biz.
Old Kanye to me, man, was just it was something different, man. Those beats, who he was working with. I think what inspired me was who he was working with at the time. Was just
I mean,
dope,
don't
man.
forget there was Talib, of course, and everything like
Right,
Talib, Most Def.
right,
When he was
Yeah,
closer to them, I like
right,
that Kanye closer to those guys.
right, right. Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So tell me a little bit, you guys, as far as what you guys got going on in the future as far as music. Go ahead, Lecter.
Uh, Futurized music. So, of course, this project, which we're plugging now. I've got another project I'm working on with well, it's two of them actually. A collective called Brutal Productions from Miami.
Okay.
They make hard, just my kind of cup of tea, gritty, uh, boom bappy sound and beats. So I'm working on that, and yeah, at the moment I'm just kind of putting bits together and just getting features, together. And it's called, if you've ever seen the film Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, if you've ever seen Adolf Interest Thompson, but instead of twisted it, and it's called Fear and the Loathing in the Shore. The Shore, I'm from a place called Murder Shore in Runcorn. So it's kind of a little twist on that. And yeah, so I'm working on that. I'm always working on singles. Like I said, I promote me own night in Liverpool. So I'm busy promoting that and putting other artists on, really trying to push the local scene as well. So, but yeah, I'm always putting stuff out. Really, it's one of them. I just keep it going. Sure, I've got another project with he's my cousin, Made Mellow. Me and him have got a project coming soon. Uh, don't have a clue what it's called yet. To be honest, we haven't got that far, but we put the beats together. So yeah, that's another project coming in the future. So yeah, just staying busy, really.
Okay.
Yeah. I
What about
mean,
you, Soul?
so I'm working on an album that actually low key this is the album that I've been working on between every other album that I've been releasing. So it's really the main big project that I'm working on. It
Okay.
encompasses so many different ideas and themes, and it's called Amazing for Tourists. I know the title doesn't tell people everything, but it's titled Amazing for Tourists. And it plays off a lot of things that I don't really want to reveal because I want the album to just be an experience. When people hit play, they're just going to be like,
Right.
okay, you're taking us somewhere. And it's really the way I think about albums. The previous one, The Observer Story Part 2, I would think of that as ideas. This next album I'm releasing, Amazing for Tourists, is like the concept that is basically places. So it's
Nice.
meant to take you through
Nice.
places.
Nice.
So it's very
I like
descriptive,
that.
and like I'm describing the scenes and like walking you through a place that you've never been to, but I want people to feel like, oh, I was there.
Right.
Same way it was like
Yeah,
when we were growing up. I think for me growing up, when I used to listen to rappers from NY specifically, I always just felt like, man, I'm from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
yeah,
vivid
it's
pictures that they painted, I'm like, I know New York. And then
Right.
finally
Sure.
actually getting
yeah,
to New York, and I was with a girl, my ex-girl was from New York, and she also was like, you're like a New York dude. I don't know why, but you have this New York thing. I'm like, the influence is strong.
Right.
So I think I want that. I want to be able to give that people that based on the places that I'm referring to. I want people to feel that same thing. It's like, oh, I know that place, even though I've never been there.
Nice. Nice. And I know if me and you have spoken. That's kind of the project you've been kind of really looking to put out and do.
Yeah,
Um.
it ended up trumping the Observer Story Part 2 because the Observer Story 2 was the big thing that I was working on.
Right.
And then somehow this album just kind of came out of that. And I was like, ooh, this is a different one and it's a better concept. So let's just move this aside and keep
Right.
working on that.
Right. So, kind of give you guys. We'll start with you, like your final thoughts on how the mind ticks. What do you want people to kind of take away from this?
um, just for them to have a listening experience, really. Go into listening to it with an open mind, pardon the pun. So, proper have a listen to it, listen to the lyrics, the production, and take, when you listen, kind of experience one is when you listen to a proper, I know it's 6 tracks, technically it's an EP, but when you listen to a proper album, like, with concepts and stuff, so like Mad Villainy, doing the Mad Lib, Illmatic. Do you know what I mean? That kind of experience that takes you through.
Yeah.
But like you said, you can listen to each track singular at the same time. So just to take that experience, and I hope people can resonate with it, because obviously there's aspects of, it is to do with the mind and psychology and stuff like that. So it's just bringing a different flavour and perspective to people's ears. I think personally, I know people have done it before, but I've not heard someone go on about these kind of methods before. So yeah, it's just taking something different from it when you listen to it. But then at the same time, it is traditional hip hop all the way through. So in my opinion, it's a good blend. It's a good blend and mix.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Soul.
mean, same thing here because I do like that it's a concept about psychology. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of discussing mental health even before it was really a fad like that.
Yeah,
And I've always been into the idea, and I didn't know this concept, so I was like really excited about that. So I do want people to like understand the concepts a little bit more and kind of
yeah,
look at mental health in a different way versus just looking at it in a way that I feel like maybe makes people weaker. I feel like this kind of has an empowering element to it while going deep into the process and how the brain works and kind of like,
Right.
maybe I hope people come out with something like that, like new ways of thinking, like
Right.
and
yeah,
analyzing their own mindsets and everything that's going on. And secondly,
yeah,
definitely, I want the replay value. I want people to like listen to it a couple of times because there are
Right.
a bunch of little gems that we both dropped in there that the more you listen, the more you pick up on it.
Right. Right.
yeah. I suppose as well, going back to the mental health side of things, it's not like doom and gloom like what we're
Right.
speaking about. You know what I mean? It's not like um, really you listen to some songs and people on about mental health. It can be a bit depressing sometimes. Going at this, it's kind of giving you another side of it, where after it, you feel like, in my opinion, you've kind of took something from it, which is what we want. You know, that's the point of it.
So kind of elaborate on that. I'm glad you kind of mentioned the mental health. Kind of speak on. Let's elaborate on kind of like the mental health aspect of this project versus what making this project versus the mental health and what kind of you want to tell the people. Kind of elaborate on that. Kind of speak more into that. You mentioned that too, Soul. So we'll kind of get on that too. Kind of speak on the mental health of going into this album, what you want people to think about.
I mean, it's like Lekta said, it's a lot lighter than people would think when we mention
Okay.
that. It's a lot lighter because I looked at it a lot more as like a technical exercise at the same time versus just being about we're slowing it down and talking to you about mental health. It's more like, no, this is a technical exercise and we're going deep into the mind, like to deep crevices that people don't even go into. And I think that's kind of what I get out of it. And I think it's more helpful in the way that it's not depressing mental health speak. And it's not your typical mental health speak either.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you feel it, listening to the project, you feel it's more of an open outlet of discussion.
Yeah. I would say so. It opens your mind a bit more. It's not kind. Yeah, it's just opening your horizons a bit more and thinking about. It's not necessarily about you feel depressed and you feel down and all that. But it's just looking at different aspects of how these methods and how your mind ticks, basically these different parts, and with you doing something, how another person can take that a certain way. If you do that, it technically in your head actually allows you to be more motivated to do something. If you do this and then it affects that, do you know what I mean? And you end up in a slump. It's all like it just shows you like, and these are actual psychological methods, that experts have actually looked into as well. So it's not like we've kind of made it up ourselves. Obviously, we're not going way into the deepness of what they are, but we're touching on it, and putting our own flavour on it.
It's like grabbing the concepts and applying them to our own lives, or
and that's what I was going to say, a psychological entryway into your personal lives, but acknowledging that it is a way of thinking in mental health, but in a way of it's not just. I think people compare mental health to just depression, suicidal, anger. This is more of, I guess, the external, if that's the way of saying it, the external.
It's more like tracking thought patterns, like kind of like tracking thought patterns and kind of
reasonings,
like
reasonings, or like perspectives.
Yeah, that's the perfect. That's the perfect thing. Which you just took perspectives. Yeah, basically, it's different angles, basically, of of doing certain things and how it can have an effect in a good or bad way.
I want to kind of speak on some of these effects, right, before we kind of end this, right? The Pratfall Effect. Kind of speak on what some of these means and kind of give some perspective on this from your guys' opinion. The Pratfall Effect. What does that mean to you guys?
Oh, just trying to think of what it ran on the track. So the I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. If I'm being honest with you.
I think the Pratfall Effect is almost like when you are, I think when you're in a good state of mind or you're good at something, but I think it taps into insecurity. I think it has a little bit of insecurity about it. It's more about tackling insecurities about things. That's how I would do it. That's how I see it, that one.
Okay. What about you, Lecter?
Yeah, I'd say that. It's kind of taking, your insecurities and, how you mentally are dealing with that. That's the way I kind of put it in the track, because I'm just trying to think of some of the lyrics. So, how my mind ticks, staring at my eyelids, on about me being asleep and I'm still staring at my eyelid. Like it's kind of like it's playing on your mind, these insecurities, and that's how it's kind of we've portrayed it into that track. So yeah, to echo on from what Soul said, yeah, that's he's nailed it there. To be fair.
So what about the? I don't want to say
The
the
Pygmalion
wrong.
Effect.
Yeah, Pygmalion Effect. Kind of explain that. That's a new effect for me. I wasn't aware of this effect.
That's the one that I explained a little bit earlier. I kind
Right.
of jumped the gun on that one. That is basically how I looked at it. Is like I explained a little bit earlier. When people believe in you, you perform better. When people don't believe in you, you're likely to not perform as well. So
Right.
it's that
Right.
effect of like outside information and how it can push you forward,
Okay.
or it can push you back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the expectations, certain expectations that can be put on, yeah, and then how you deal with them, basically.
Okay. We spoke on the focusing. So the bystander. What is that? What does that mean to you? What was that meaning?
Bystander effect, we can all relate to this one. I feel
Right.
like it's like, let's say if you're walking down the street and you see a couple arguing and the dude maybe starts to get a little aggressive. Do you jump in? Do you not? Most of the time you're like, somebody else will jump in, so I'm just gonna fall back. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's pretty much just that. It's that mindset. So like you're watching something happen and you're kind of like a little bit like,
yeah, what should you do? Yeah, you kind of pull in between. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My favorite effect, the paradox effect.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one. Kind of give some context on that one.
I'll let Lecter have that one.
Yeah, so like the paradox effect, it's like saying that if you do something in a particular way, it will work differently for you. So it basically, you can have all these abilities, but if you do it in necessarily, I don't know how you would kind of explain it, but not in a particular way, you can fall short. So, but if you do it in a way that people necessarily don't kind of see as right, you can be looked at greater by a larger percentage of people.
You become judged.
Basically, yeah, but you can be judged in a better way, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a topsy-turvy, that one, to be fair.
I definitely sympathize with this effect because I think it's a little bit more common, and I'm glad you guys spoke about this. And it's on the album. Go ahead, so.
Yeah, I mean the way I saw it too, like loosely interpreting it. Some of these interpretations are slightly. I went a little bit loose on some. The way I saw paradox effect is kind of like we kind of talk a little bit about decisions. So it's like analysis paralysis when you're like looking into something that you want to do, and you're like, okay, do I want to do that or do I want to do this other thing? And then just like kind of being confused in the space of like being pulled in two opposite directions constantly.
Right.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I thought of it.
We kind of spoke about the spotlight effect vaguely also earlier. If you guys want to add some final points to that.
Yeah.
So the spotlight effect. It's basically just kind of putting you, from your own perspective into, trying to get, the way I look at it is people, and I might sound bitter here, but this is just fucking me anyway. Me in general, this is just my opinion. But in my opinion, my perspective on it, I just thought, and the way I'm rapping. So, for instance, us, the spitters, lyricists, but then there's other people out there making music that, is abysmal, that I wouldn't even make my ears bleed. But they're getting more recognition and spotlight, you know what I mean? But because they can, they kind of just, listen, we'll make something commercial. We don't. It's not for the, you know what I mean. It's not for the art. So for me, in a better sense, I'm just trying to like put across that like, real lyricists, real rappers, lyricists should be getting more spotlight. That was my perspective on it, anyway.
Yeah,
you have anything to add? So go ahead.
Yeah, mine was basically just just a kind of like literally about attention and how that can make you uncomfortable at sometimes, so it's like kind of like, okay, well, is attention good? And when the spotlight is on you, and then I literally thought about the term spotlight. Like the spotlight is burning, so it's like imagine a spotlight on you and it's really hot and you're feeling the heat from it. So it's just that kind of like idea overall.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have Dr. Lekta and Soul's album "How My Mind Ticks" releasing January 3rd. The first single was going to be "Polygamy."
The Pygmalion Effect.
Pygmalion Effect. I'm sorry, man. I'm having a hard time saying that. Will be out Friday. Definitely check out that. That would definitely be on this page. Appreciate you guys coming on the show, man. For taking out the
Appreciate you
time,
having
man.
us,
Lekta, definitely,
Yeah,
Lekta,
no, I
man.
appreciate it.
We've been
Cheers. Thank you.
definitely been a big fan of the show, man. Really appreciate you taking the time where you're at coming on the show, man. Definitely. You guys follow Dr. Lekta and also follow Soulogik. Like I said, the album's going to be out January 3rd. First single is going to be out Friday. My review for this is going to be out soon for this project also. Again, really make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to the page. Again, really appreciate you guys really engaging down in the comments. And we out, y'all.
We out, y'all.
Peace.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace. Thank you.
Yeah.